Wife's brother-in-law wants to kiss her, and she threatened with divorce if I told her sister. So, my wife and brother-in-law have been running together for the past few months. My wife told me that besides their weekend runs, they were also running during the week after work. Well, my brother-in-law was not telling his wife about all the runs, and my wife kept them secret from her sister, though I suspect she didn't tell me about all the runs. Anyways, my wife's sister somehow finds out about them running during the week and gets upset. I tell my wife I agree with her sister and that they should stop running as it is starting to get weird with the lying. I also pointed out that it seemed a little weird to be running that much together, and she commented that it was not like they were having an affair. As I think back now, over these last few months, she was very complimentary of how open my brother-in-law was on the runs, and that they could speak about everything, and how I didn't bring anything to the table. She seemingly got mad at me all the time for the smallest things, and there were frequent comments about how the brother-in-law was so great. Well, last weekend her sister got upset, and my wife said she would not run with him anymore. She explained that she ran with him since she didn't feel safe running outside alone, and that he and her ran the same pace. Her sister left it as, "Do what you want," but was clearly upset. My wife didn't run all week, but he was texting her constantly about running, and she finally agreed to go Saturday morning. She asked if I was ok with it, and I told her that I really wasn't, and it seemed strange she would go against her sister and my wishes. She commented they were just running partners, and that everyone was acting weird for no reason. Well, 1 hour later she comes flying through the door, and says he told her he wanted to kiss her, and texted the same. My wife was all upset, said she called him and said, "What are you thinking?" and that he was crazy and hung up. I was shocked that my brother-in-law would pull this and asked my wife what would have led to this, and that guys don't just say things like that for no reason. Wife denied any conversations about our marriage, issues, or anything that would have led him on. I told her I love you and believe you, and that you must tell your sister. She said absolutely not, as it would destroy her family, and that it wasn't a big deal. She got upset when I told her I wanted her to tell brother-in-law that I was aware, and said he already learned his lesson, and that would blow it out of proportion. I am very upset, told her the same, and she basically said we need to just move on and act like nothing happened. I disagreed, and she now will not talk about it, and told me that I am acting like a baby and ruining our relationship with my attitude about it. I feel like she was having an emotional affair and is not protecting him and her because she developed some sort of feelings for him. I ended up looking at our phone bill and seeing that she had multiple calls over the last couple months with him that were 10, 15, and 20 minutes long during the workday, when I'm obviously not around. Not proud of this, but I looked at her messages and took a picture of the one saying he wanted to kiss her. There were also messages about him giving her a special birthday present, and then one saying, "I assume you deleted the text before you got home, and let's just forget about this one." For some unknown reason, my wife is willing to act like this is no big deal, when in reality, it is a big deal to me. Maybe I shouldn't be upset, but I can't shake the feeling that she is not as innocent as she is putting forth. I don't believe anything physical happened, but why defend a scumbag like this and allow him to go on like nothing happened, especially when your sister is involved? I need some advice on how to handle this. Update 1. So I took some of the below advice as over dinner. My wife commented that she was glad I wasn't going to say anything to anyone and just act normal around the family. I responded that was in fact not the case, as I am still very uncomfortable and upset about what happened, and I'm not sure how I'll react. She lost her shit and started calling me all sorts of names, and that my actions are going to destroy our relationship, and I should just call her ex-wife, as she won't tolerate me disregarding her wishes. I explained that I feel it's wrong to just forget it ever happened, and that I didn't appreciate her defending and excusing brother-in-law actions. She continued yelling that she now can't trust me and won't tell me things in the future. Told me I'm going to destroy the whole family, her parents, her sister, and our lives with my not agreeing to let it go. Yelling about how dare I blame her. I made it clear I'm not blaming her and that my focus is brother-in-law actions, but she doesn't want to hear this. I'm currently getting the silent treatment. Update 2. After she stopped yelling last night and transitioned to the silent treatment. She went straight to bed upstairs. Woke up this morning and had zero conversation with complete silent treatment. Only words uttered were to call me an asshole for putting a wet towel on top of my daughter's homework. She then walked out the door for work. As an update 3, I took the last few days to think about it, and I just could not get over my brother-in-law saying this, especially in light of the phone calls and incessant texting between them. My wife was insistent the other day that if I did not just forget it, that her entire family will be destroyed, and her sister will be crushed. I told her that I would not say anything to her sister, as that was not my place. She then said that I would also not mention anything to my brother-in-law and just go about business as usual and drop it. I told her I didn't agree and didn't know what I would do. Well, today I am out and I see him. He acts all buddy-buddy, and I just looked at him and told him that he crossed a line and to stop contacting my wife and don't go to my house when I'm not there. 5 minutes later, I have all these missed calls and nasty text messages from my wife saying that I destroyed the family, she can't trust me, and that I am a monster for saying anything to him. I called her, and she was screaming like a banshee, claiming she couldn't breathe and was having an anxiety attack, all because of me. She repeatedly stated she no longer had any trust in me and doesn't know if there is a future for us. She then went into how my brother-in-law was crying and all scared I was going to tell everyone, and he was now devastated for his kids. I told my wife that he shouldn't worry about that since I have no plans to tell his wife. I then stated it was wrong for her to continue defending and being concerned about his emotions when I have been crushed all week about this issue. I walked in the door to her screaming that she trusted me to not say anything and that I stabbed her in the back. I then got the, "Don't talk to me as I need to think about us and damage control going forward." I made it clear that because of her hysteria, I texted my brother-in-law and stated that the last words I will speak of this occurred today. It's on you to tell others, not me, and I don't care what you do. I told my wife that if she had no such intentions, then there is nothing that she did wrong and is just being used as a pawn in his game. It's not her fault that he decided to pull such a move. So right now, I am sitting downstairs and my wife stormed up to bed and isn't talking to me. I feel I had to say something as I was not going to play the secret game on this and have to act like nothing happened. I mean, she was commenting that he has a family and kids, to which I replied that he didn't give a damn about my family and kids when he said he wanted to kiss her, and I am sure was hopeful the feeling was mutual. So please explain why my wife doesn't understand my anger over the situation and continues to blame me. I'm upset that my wife is furious at me, but in the end, I really don't think my actions were out of line and I stand by them. Am I crazy? Maybe I just tanked my own marriage, but who wants to stay with someone when they would defend someone like the brother-in-law? Update 4. Thanks for all the great advice. I haven't taken a scorched earth policy as I don't want to blow this up in front of my kids. My one child is already asking why mom is acting out. Anyways, this morning I told my wife this is unacceptable and I'm not the bad guy and won't cover for the lies. I asked her directly if she had feelings for brother-in-law, and she exploded that she hates me, hates him. I destroyed the family and wants a divorce. She said that she isn't living her life with my threats. I made zero threats. I said I wanted to sit down and have an open and honest discussion about this tonight. She put the door to work. I left her a detailed voicemail stating that we need to sit down and talk about our options of one, seeing if this is salvageable, and option 2. If not, to discuss coming to an amicable agreement to end our marriage so the least possible damage is done to the kids. No response from her. Final update. So I spoke with my wife last night and explained the 2 options and expressed that a serious discussion was needed on what took place. She immediately lost it when I asked about whether or not she had spoken negatively about our marriage and myself to my brother-in-law. She started screaming that I have no right to interrogate her. She then deflected it back to me, destroying the family by telling the brother-in-law I knew despite her saying to just drop it. I explained that I was emotionally devastated by this and that the fact that she was lying to her sister and I was the real issue in my book. I asked if she had spoken to brother-in-law since the other day. She initially denied it, and when I pointed out that earlier in the convo She mentioned a call she got belligerent and started with me being a monster and destroying her life. She is screaming, and I just maintained my composure and said I needed to know everything that was said and done between them in order to try and salvage our relationship. She was adamant that nothing physical ever happened. In her mania, she started saying that she needed a few days to think about what she wanted to do since I violated her trust. I told her that she does not get to direct the narrative as I am not the bad guy here, and if anyone is, it is the brother-in-law for putting her in the situation. I asked her if she loved me, and her response was that 2 days ago when she thought I wasn't saying anything that she loved me, but now after my actions she no longer does. I looked right at her and said that this means it is the end of our marriage, as I cannot reconcile a marriage where one partner no longer loves the other. She told me to go fuck myself and shut down. I commented that her actions make it appear there is much more going on than I am being told, and that I will get to the bottom of it after comparing notes with my sister-in-law. Slept in the guest bedroom, woke up this morning, got a good workout in, and she didn't make any comments before leaving for work. However, she had made my lunch, and I think it was her way of trying to break the ice. I am meeting my sister-in-law for coffee this morning to discuss, and then meeting my attorney to get the ball rolling. I'm not a doormat, nor am I the person in the wrong here. I know I will never be able to trust her again, and her actions confirm this. So thank you for all the advice.